Hello everybody, this is Justin back again with the Essex Art Center for this class on cardboard sculpture. I'm excited to teach you guys a new technique today. Today we are going to be learning a technique called stacking. Stacking is a way to make sculptures and shapes with more volume or just more of a rounded, weighty shape. Last week when looking at Alexander Calder, we made sculptures using a lot of flat shapes. This lesson we're going to focus on shapes with more rounded shape and more volume. And this technique comes from a sculptor called En Iwamura. He's a sculptor that is working today in clay. He makes a lot of really fun, kind of blobby cartoon characters. And he uses a technique called coiling when he's working with clay, where you build the piece up layer by layer from the ground up, and we're going to do the same thing with cardboard today. So some materials you'll need besides a lot of cardboard is you'll need some scissors, an X-Acto knife to cut the cardboard out, a Sharpie or a pen or a pencil to draw shapes into the cardboard, and a hot glue gun or some other type of glue. Again, if you're a kid and you're using these sharp tools or you're using a hot glue gun, be sure that you have an adult nearby to help you out. At the very end, we will use some paints to add some fun color to our piece. So, without further ado, let's get started. So to start off with, I've laid down this one larger sheet of cardboard just to protect the table that I'm working on. I don't want to accidentally scratch it up with the scissors or the X-Acto knife that I'm working with. Then I'm going to take a smaller piece of cardboard to begin. Now remember, we are going to be thinking a lot about volume today, making sculptures with a lot of big round shape. So we're going to want to be using slightly larger pieces of cardboard today, so I cut up a pretty big box to use. Now thinking about the sculptures that En Iwamura makes, they're very kind of round and bubbly shapes, so I'm going to do something very similar. Just kind of a little lumpy shape like that. Now I'm going to cut this out with my X-Acto knife. So now that we've cut out our starting shape, this is really just going to act as our guide. It's not going to become a part of the final sculpture. It is just going to show us kind of the shapes we need to make and how wide we need to make each level of cardboard as we try and create this shape. So we're going to put this off to the side. Then I'm going to grab another piece of cardboard. And I'm going to tilt this up a little bit so you can see. And we're just going to think about this sculpture, and we're going to start again. Remember, we're building these shapes by stacking cardboard from the bottom up. So we're going to look at the width of this bottom layer, and if you would like, you can get out a ruler and measure these things precisely. I'm just going to eyeball it. And our bottom layer is about this wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out a circle. That's that width. I'm going to cut this out, and I'll speed it up in the video, but again, if you need to pause to cut this out, please do so. Alright, there's level 1. I'm just going to label that with the number 1. And now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. We're going to kind of hold it up and see how wide the next level is. So starting here, it's going to be about that wide. So we're going to bring over another piece. We want it to be just a little bit wider than this piece below it. So we'll bring this here. Again, we'll take a look. If it helps, you can mark it off. Looking for something about that wide. Put a little line here, a little line here. Needs to be that big for level 2. got a little bit of something drawn on the back here, but that's okay. Gonna mark that off as number 2. And we'll stack those 2 pieces onto each other. Now what we need to do is attach these 2 pieces. I'm using hot glue. A glue stick works well too. Really any type of glue should be fine. I don't recommend using tape. I don't think it'll stick as well as you can, but if that's all you have, I'm sure you can make it work. So we're just going to put a little ring of hot glue right there and stick that circle of cardboard down onto it. And again, take that, we'll measure how tall it is. This is the next level we're going for. It's got to be that wide. So we'll take another piece of cardboard, measure that out, side to side, draw a line. Our circle's got to be that wide. Pretty close to our previous circle, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace around the outside of this other one so we know to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Now I'm going to cut out piece number 3. Alright, piece number 3. Glue that on top again, ring of glue here. Couple little circles maybe if you need. Stick that on top. As you can see, we're already starting to get a little bit of an in and out shape. So I am just going to keep on going. I'm going to pause the video for now. I invite you to pause the video and just keep building these shapes up yourself, and when you're all finished, we'll join back up again. So I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like. I'm about halfway done at this point. I'm at 14 layers of cardboard. You can see we're getting there. You can start seeing this kind of in and out shape as we're going along. As you're gluing the discs on top, be sure you're getting them as close to the center as you can, or as you can kind of see, my shape bends to the side a little bit. If your shape does any sort of sideways motion, then your circles will be set slightly off center. So I'm going to keep going again, pause the video if you need to, and we'll join back up when we're all done. After 39 layers, I have officially finished this piece. As you can see, I marked the lines going all the way up. As you get taller and taller, sometimes it gets a little bit tricky to mark off the lines. That's okay. I've found that as you get to these really small parts at the top, you have to take the guide away and just sort of eyeball it as you cut out these smaller shapes. So we've got this really lovely 3-dimensional shape. Got little strings of hot glue all over it that I'm going to pull off, but you can see we've got some really nice volume. It's a really full rounded shape. And we could leave it like this. It's really cool just by itself, but thinking about An Iwamura, the artist we looked at today, he likes to add these kind of cartoony little faces to these sculptures that he makes. So I've cut out 2 eyes and a mouth, and I am just going to glue those on really quick. We'll put one here. We'll put one here. His mouth right there. And you can use the stacking method to create a little character like this. You don't necessarily have to. You can use it to create whatever you want and add on to it at the very end. Add these facial features, add other details, do whatever you like. And now I am going to add some paint onto this guy to give him some nice color. You can do the same, so pause the video, and when you're done, you can hit play again. Well, here is my final piece. After painting it with a nice coat of red, I painted the eyes white so it's a fun little cartoon character. And now he is all done. So thank you all so much for joining me. I had a great time, and I look forward to teaching you again next week about another technique of cardboard sculpture.